How long is too long? Thanks, Mike, by the way. And how little is too little when you're dealing with EQC? That's a question that's been repeatedly asked in Christchurch over the past 5 years, and now it's being asked in Whanganui. A year ago yesterday, the North Island city was hit by extensive flooding. Actually, it was a year ago on Monday. More than 100 properties were evacuated, many more damaged. And while it's still being assessed, the total cost of the damage was tens of millions of dollars. Above the city, parts of some hills collapsed, rendering homes uninhabitable. But while the risk of further collapse is so great that people can't actually live in their homes, and they've been red-stickered, as in Christchurch, the actual damage the structures suffered wasn't always that great. In short, people have lost their homes, have nowhere to live and can't sell their properties, but they're getting insurance payouts that are small percentages of the value of their actual loss. Mark Goodier is one such resident. He's now taking EQC to court. A year ago on Monday, he and his wife came home to minor flooding, but no serious damage. And then
we started to move a few things in the garage because that's the area that was on the move. And whilst we were in the garage, we just heard this horrible thump. And we poked our heads outside, and there'd been a huge landslip at the side of the house, and sent us into somewhat of a panic at that time. We were running around collecting pets and throwing a few things in a bag, and got ourselves out of the place as soon as we could.
So roughly, and this is sorry to ask you this question on national radio, but roughly what was your house worth before the flood?
Around $425,000.
Okay, so you had a $425,000 home, and it looks like a beautiful home from what I can see in the studio in Auckland. In total, How much money have you so far been offered for the complete and utter loss of your home?
Well, the only payments that we've had is it was $113,000 from EQC. That was the loss of the land and damage to the house. And basically that's it. We haven't had anything else.
So Mark, you've lost a house that was worth $425,000. You received roughly a third, in fact less than a third of its value so far in insurance. You can't return to the house, you can't live in the house, you can't sell the house. At the moment you're getting no more money for your insurers. Where does this leave you?
With all those other unfortunate people in Christchurch, where our case has been filed in the High Court, and we've got to wait for it to go through the system so that we can either have our time in court, or as EQC tend to do, if they know there's a good case against them, they'll cave in just before it goes to court, but all the time leaving people in desperate situations.
Where are you living now, Mark?
We're actually in a rented accommodation just on the edge of town. We've made the decision to try and, if you like, leave this behind slightly and try and move on with our lives. But of course, all the time, we've worked all our lives to, our home is everything that we have. So there's always that feeling in the back of your mind that you've worked all your life and you've lost everything.
What would you like to say to EQC on Checkpoint tonight?
I'm not sure there's anything I could say to them that hasn't already been said. The trouble is, every time that anything is said to them, they hide behind legislation. And if they're not forced to do anything, they won't. It's as simple as that. People's situations are of no consequence to them whatsoever.
So, a short time ago, EQC told us legal issues prevented it from speaking specifically about Mr Goodier's case. It says it opened an office in Whanganui after the flooding to deal with customer claims. EQC says it understands some customers may have expected to receive the full cost of the repairs to their property from EQC, but have not. But it is bound by the cover set out in the Earthquake Commission Act, which includes maximum caps for all buildings, land and content claims. Those caps do not always meet the full cost of the work required to repair the damage. That statement from EQC. We will report on what happens if this gets to the High Court.